I just returned from a ministerial forum in the city of in Panama City, Panama. So this was the 10th ministerial forum on development of Latin America and the Caribbean under the theme Partnership for the Reduction of Structural Inequalities under the Framework of the SDGs. So basically under the responsibility of social development, what is the rest of the Caribbean and what is the rest of Latin America doing in terms of how do we look for social equality in our different communities. This was arranged under the Ministry of Social Development by the Republic of Panama, as well as the United Nations Development Program, as well as the Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean. The objective of the conference was really to share best practices on public policies in the area of human social development, and to debate proposals that address the challenges of our different countries and what we're facing in terms of overcoming structural barriers that impede inclusive development. Topics such as social protection systems. And what I found was very interesting is that much of the conversation, or part of the conversations, also touched on the concept of universal health insurance. If you remember, one of the ideas behind universal health insurance is that you can access health insurance without causing financial duress. In other words, that if you have to sell your home, sell your car in order to finance your health care needs, that this is creating financial hardship, and as a community, as a society, that is something that we don't subscribe to. So it was good to see that the other countries are all working on a universal health insurance, just like St. Martin, that we are very far in the process of working on a universal health insurance scheme that ensures that everybody in our community has access to health insurance and access to quality health care close to home. So it was good to see that that also fits the goal of social development. If you are looking for financial stability and if we're looking to elevate the most vulnerable in our community, that's an important part of it, making sure that people have access to health care and without causing financial hardship. One of the things that I found very interesting about the conference is when you listen to the different countries, when you look at what the issues are for, well, Venezuela was there, who of course has a whole host of issues, but Colombia, Peru, Panama, Mexico, and then of course there were Caribbean countries. There was the British Virgin Islands, Jamaica, St. Lucia, Grenada, and St. Martin as well. But when you listen in the conference what the issues are, for the larger countries, their issues are really so much different than our Caribbean countries, right? They have large millions of people in their population, and for them, getting the data to understand what's happening in their community, what pockets need help, they're in a different situation, and I think that's a point that the Caribbean countries banded together really and stressed that point. So in the conference, they're working on a draft document, a declaration explaining the objectives and the outcomes. And the Caribbean delegation, mostly at my prompting, we managed to add two paragraphs to the agreement. And I'll read them for you. Asserting that the facilitation of the exchange of information, technology, and lessons learned amongst the member countries is a prudent mechanism to innovate development policies considering the socio-economic particularities of the Caribbean countries. Point being that many of these other countries have developed resources. Unfortunately, software, things like that, very often policies are in Spanish, so we've asked that the UNDP or ECLAC also facilitate that these documents are translated into English so that other people can access their lessons learned and policies. But also, any technologies that are developed, if they believe that it has applications for Latin America or Caribbean, that they keep in mind that the Caribbean countries have a very particular socioeconomic condition. The second point is taking into account the principle of leaving no one behind. In other words, this is one of the core principles of the conference, is that in a society we shouldn't be leaving the vulnerable groups behind. In the same way, we stressed that the Latin countries shouldn't be leaving the Caribbean countries behind because our economies are really very, very different. So taking that principle into account, the policies and implementation strategies for development must take into account the diverse socioeconomic realities of the member countries, particularly the vulnerable microeconomies of the Caribbean, whose economies have been strongly impacted by extreme weather conditions. So again, as you look at different countries, let's say like Peru or Chile, let's say, where they have different industries. They may have agricultural industries, they may have mining industries. So if the prices of mining, of raw materials, of commodities drops, they have other sectors that can balance their economy out. But the Caribbean, most of us are tourism-based economies. And again, we made the point, the British Virgin Islands, badly hit by Hurricane Irma and Maria, I think, heavily dependent on financial services, but also tourism. And so our economies are much more vulnerable to shocks than these larger countries, and that we felt that they need to take these into account when they're developing their policies and strategies. So I think that the intervention was positive. I think that it was very interesting to hear what other countries are doing, and there's certainly lessons to be learned from their successes as well as their failures. So.
Connecting you.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
I met with the ambassadors of CARICOM member states accredited to the United Nations. On the agenda was the status of St. Martin's application for associate membership to CARICOM and its relationship with other countries in the region. Addressing the first point was the permanent representative of CARICOM to the United Nations, who indicated that that consideration is still being given to the application of Aruba, Curacao, and St. Martin. The process for membership is being looked at in the context of CARICOM's expansion. During the meeting, I highlighted St. Martin's progress in recovery, including the most recent joining of the CRIF, or the Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility, which is a regional catastrophe fund for Caribbean governments to limit the financial impact devastating hurricanes and earthquakes by quickly providing financial liquidity. I also indicated interest in the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, SDEMA, an interregional network of emergency units in the Caribbean. The ambassadors underscored St. Martin's continued hospitality as home to many of the Caribbean diaspora and the economic importance of the island in the region. They indicated a desire to see greater inclusion of the island in regional organizations. On another note, while in New York, I wrapped up the visit with a meet and greet with the staff of the permanent mission of the Kingdom of the Netherlands to the United Nations. The meeting included a discussion with the Netherlands Foreign Investment Agency, NFIA, which assists persons looking to conduct business in the Netherlands. The agency is willing to assist St. Martin in identifying investors whose priorities align with those of the country. During the meeting, I indicated the importance of targeted and well-focused investments now during the reconstruction phase and welcomed the assistance from the investment agency. Offers were also made, among others, by the cultural diplomacy arm of the mission to highlight the arts and artists from St. Martin at that mission. This initiative was well received, underscoring the important role that the arts continues to play in St. Martin and the wealth of artists on island and those representing the island abroad. The second announcement is about PSC and the Civil Registry. In keeping with government's commitment to enhance service delivery to its citizens through the concept of e-government, earlier this week, the Public Service Center and the Civil Registry Department launched the online appointment booking service. This form of e-government, which is supported by government's ICT platform, aims to improve efficiency, transparency, and cost of doing business. The online appointment booking initiative, which started a few months ago, deserves the recognition of government's ICT department, the Public Service Center, and the Civil Registry Department, as well as the developer who worked tirelessly realizing this feature. Citizens are encouraged to book their appointments for the various products and services related to the Civil Registry Department at their convenience by visiting appointments.stmartingov.org/services or visit government's website for more information. Additional services of other ministries will be added in the near future, while new e-government initiatives will also be introduced.
Hey ma, how you doing? You busy?
I hear, just paying some bills, taking care of business, you know what it is?
I know, you're doing your online banking.
I don't have to stand in those long lines to pay bills. I can transfer when I want. I can check my account wherever. It's like the bank open 24/7. I even here checking the statement right now as we're talking. How's Miami?
Well, that's why I'm calling. I'm finishing up a few songs now, but I'm afraid that studio time might be more than I thought. And I was wondering if I could get some help with some funds, and I could pay you back as soon as I get back to St. Martin.
Let me check my account. How much you need?
I think 500 should be enough.
I can transfer it to you while online. Direct from me to you. No problem.
Great. Thank you so much, Ma. I'll get online with Wib now.
Alright, darling. You know who you're for?
I need to know who you're for.
Contact Wib today for your complete personal online banking experience. Available for all mobile devices. The Wynwood Islands Bank, now your online banking partner in progress.
Who you're for.
Has the cooperation with the Camaro, the Dutch police, and Dutch has been documented so that there is no misunderstanding in this cooperation? Do the officers from the Netherlands fall under the command of police chief? According to all all agreements. They fall under the responsibility of the Minister of Justice and the Chief of Police as regulated in the Kingdom Agreement and worked out in the Joint Plan of Approach. Just a quick reference to the previous questions as far as activity in Simsbury for 2017. Incoming 11,776, outgoing 10,798, and 2018 so far, right, 6,448 and 6,271. Thank you. The Samaritan again has access to ACPOL or not. The agreement has been signed and the payment process is being finalized, and then we will have complete access to ACPOL, AMS, and BMS. Is the Minister of Justice aware that due to the judgment of the court, U.S. citizens can more or less freely live and work in St. Martin? Yes, I am aware. Is it true, and I believe the question was also asked how many were issued. We have close to 86 permits that were issued, but those do not all include, how should I put it, under the the Dutch-American Friendship Treaty. Is it true that the Sabre ferry can no longer transport goods and products brought into St. Martin? If so, what is the reason? I have not been officially notified of any changes. I know these islands, Sabre and Statia, as well as Bonaire, have import duties now, and that's the only change that I am aware of. Has the situation with the pro bono law has been resolved, and has the strike affected justice in combating crime? The situation has been resolved, payments are being made, and we are currently in the process of working out the details of a nomination decree and establishing a contract between the ministers and between myself and the lawyers. MP Jacobs, please clarify if in a total of 30 persons who will be trained for the police and customs in 2018 and 29 are all new recruits or also candidates within the existing workforce, and also what the training will be focused on. 50 new persons this year that will be trained, and all existing officers that did not finalize their training will get the opportunity to finalize it. Next year, this process will be repeated. The same process for customs, but training 10 this year and 10 next year. 5 existing staff will join the same training as the new recruits this year, and 9 existing staff will join the class of next year. Given the current challenges the ministry faces with its budget and function book, will you be able to maintain the extra officers you're recruiting on your budget, and will they be paid the correct salary? How is this reflected in the function books? Also, do you have sufficient budget to properly outfit and house all current officers and all new recruits in order for them to function optimally? Is there a protocol in place for them on filing and handling of complaints? Yes, the protocols are in place. There's also a question about the training of officers and what it is focused on. It's focused on basic training for immigration and operations and specialized training for current staff. Customs will also get basic customs specific training. Actually, a list will be provided to you instead of reading off each course. Rights and obligations of custom officer, IBT training. I will just send this to you directly. Back to the protocols. Yes, the protocols are in place. KPSM has an internal affairs department, which in first instance handles all internal affairs, including complaints from or about officers. Alternatively, officers can also submit their complaints to the Ombudsman, and the establishment of a complaints committee to review complaint against police conduct is also being established. Arrangements are being made in the budget of 2019 as well as the multi-annual budget to accommodate new recruits. what challenges are the immigration, police, and customs facing that makes it necessary that 40 customs and border control officers have to be recruited and trained. Funding and understaffing are the main challenges, and general upgrading of staff is a continuing process. Can you give a written overview of how many new recruits, local police officers and officers from the Netherlands as in which rank are currently working at the police and the customs, also an estimation for 2019? We will provide that to you in writing as well. Does it follow from the partnership with the Kingdom that assistance from the Kingdom is automatically guaranteed and any part of the Kingdom falls short to live up to its legal obligations? There are certain provisions in the Charter of the Kingdom of the Netherlands pertaining to the aid and assistance that the Kingdom countries have to give one another, but also when the Kingdom as a whole should step in. One should also differentiate between Kingdom matters and internal autonomous affairs of the Kingdom countries.
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
1,
2,
3,
4. This is how common it is to develop a mental illness. 1 out of every 4.
4,
4.
4. But there is hope. Today, most mental illnesses can be managed and treated. Visit your general doctor if you feel concerned about your thoughts and behaviors or have some difficulty dealing with some of life's issues.
If you have been diagnosed and are suffering from a mental illness, keep in mind these 4 points to help you manage your mental health.
1. Get regular checkups with your general doctor.
2. Stay on your treatment plan to prevent relapses.
3. Find a strong support group in your family and friends.
And 4. Never be afraid to ask for help and look out for the warning signs of your illness.
Remember, you are not alone. We are as close as one.
2.
3.
4.
Learn about mental health illness by going to the Mental Health Foundation's website at www.mhf-sxm.com.
The Department of Sports is calling on all sports organizations to please submit their nominee choices for this year's Brown Pelican Awards. These should be submitted no later than Friday, September 28th, 2018. The Brown Pelican Sports Awards categories for this year are Male Athlete of the Year, Female Athlete of the Year, Sports Icon, Best Overall Team, Best Coach, Best Sporting School, Sporting Innovations, Best Sponsor, International Ambassador, and Best Sports Organization. The sports organizations can submit their nominee choices by either accessing the nomination website on the Department of Sports SXM Facebook page, or by calling the Department of Sports on 542-6085 or 542-9344 to register their choices. This year's Brown Pelican Awards ceremony will be held at the Princess Port de Plaisance on November the 18th, 2018. This year's theme is boxing, and the ceremony will also be highlighting our local boxing legends on their outstanding contribution to this boxing sport here on the island. So we're now encouraging the general public to save the date, November 18th, and stay tuned to the Department of Sports SXM Facebook page for more information. The Student Support Services Division will be hosting a free time management workshop entitled Making Your Time Count on Monday, September 24th, 2018, from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. This workshop is aimed at students in the last 2 years of secondary school and also students who have recently graduated. And it will be held at the Student Support Services Division office, which is located in the Amigo building across from the police station next to the Windward Islands Bank here in Phillipsburg. Students are urged to call the Student Support Services Division at telephone 543-1235 to register for this workshop as space is limited. The Education on the Move team, in collaboration with the St. Martin National Commission for UNESCO and Friends, hosted the St. Martin Literacy Week. The readathon was conducted from September 6th to September 14th, and unfortunately, Tropical Storm Isaac interrupted the readathon for 2 days. I've been told that schools, as well as the volunteers who didn't get to participate, are requesting that the program be extended with another 2 days in order to make up for the days that were lost due to Tropical Storm Isaac. With participation of all after-school community programs and the many volunteer readers, the program thus far was a success. And remember, readers are leaders. So drop everything and read with the DEAR or DEAR program. Education on the Move will continue its work to promote continued education and literacy here on St. Martin.